So for 15, it just tells us that we have to solve for x. So we have four methods we could possibly use. The first one, solve by square root, but we can't do that because we have an x squared, or an x term. If we only had x squared, we could do that. So that requires us to add 7 because the only time we don't want to set it equal to 0 is if we solve by square root, which we can't do here. So we're left with x squared plus 10x minus 95 equals 0. So another way we could try is we could try to factor it. Okay, so we would factor it. We need to add up to a positive 10, multiply to a negative 95. We could do a negative 14 and 5, but that won't add up for us. Or 5 and 19, that won't help us either. So there's no way that we can factor this, so factoring is out of the question, which leaves us with two other options. One is completing the square, which we can do because we don't have anything in front of our x squared, and we have an even number here, so it makes it pretty easy. So if we want to complete the square, we got x squared plus 10x, and we're going to leave our blank, and then minus 95, other blank, equals 0. And we're going to divide b by 10, so 10 divided by 2 equals 5. 5 squared gives us plus 25 on the inside, minus 25 on the outside. So when we factor that, we get x plus 5. Don't forget, whatever we got inside our parentheses is what comes down here. And then when we combine these like terms out here, we get minus 120 equals 0. So to solve this now, we got to move k to the other side, so we're left with x plus 5 squared equals a positive 120 because we're going to add it on both sides. And now to solve for x, we're going to take the square root of both sides. On this side, we're just going to cancel out the square and the square root, so we're left with x plus 5. And on the other side, we're going to simplify that. So if we simplify that and you break it down, you get plus or minus 2 radical 30. So that's if we do the tree and we simplify everything. So to get x by itself, I have to subtract 5 on both sides. However, I can't combine anything on that side, so we just get x equals negative 5 plus or minus 2 radical 30. Okay, so that's one method we can use. The other method, we'll see if I have room on this page or not, is use the quadratic formula. So again, we're going to base everything off this equation because we set it equal to 0 there. So we're going to do opposite b, so negative 10 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times 1, 2a. So we got negative 10 plus or minus the square root, and we get 100. And then we get negative 4 times 1 times 95. And when we multiply that, we get 380. So we're going to get positive 380 here, all over 2. So the next step we want to do, negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 480, all divided by 2. Now when I simplify this, we're going to get negative 10 plus or minus, and again, just like we did with the 120 over here, we're going to simplify the 480. That's going to give us 4 radical 30, all over 2. So now from here, I can't simplify on the top anymore because I can't combine negative 10 and 4 radical 30. But what I can do is I can look at the three terms. Remember, everything's got to be outside the parentheses. And I can divide all those by 2. So negative 10 divided by 2 gives me negative 5, plus or minus 4 divided by 2 gives us 2. Don't do anything inside the radical, leave that the same. And then all over 2 divided by 2 just gives us 1. So the same answer we got before, we can get the same way using this quadratic formula.